Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome back to more Pokemon Yellow. Last time, we completed our little trip through Victory Road and we got here to Indigo Plateau. This time, we're not going to be taking on Indigo Plateau quite yet, because there's one, or should I say, three things that we need to take care of first. I should mention, in between episodes, I bit the bullet and grinded everyone up to level 50. Upon reaching level 50, Pikachu tried to learn Light Screen, but I opted not to go for it because I honestly get the impression that when it comes to the single player of Generation 1, raw power is really all you need to win, so I skipped it. Anyway, without spoiling too terribly much, we are off to the Seafoam Islands. Alrighty, here we are at the Seafoam Islands. I should point out, in my items, I have 15 Super Repels and 50 Great Balls. Some people might be questioning why I have Great Balls here, but I'm trusting Bulbapedia on this one. I was reading up on the Generation 1 capture algorithm, and apparently, in Generation 1, Ultra Balls only have a better chance than a Great Ball of catching a Pokemon if their catch rate is between 50 and 200. The Pokemon we are going to be going after today have catch rates of 3, so if I'm understanding this correctly, Great Balls should work just as well, and they are a lot cheaper, so that is what I am going with. Anyway, let's head right on into the dungeon here, and I should mention I do have a Repel up for the moment, and we did explore most of this area in the past in episode 52 or 3, I think. And so I'm not going to be completing this area vanilla. There's a lot of stuff in here that we've already completed, but one thing I should note is there are actually a few items in this area that I'm hoping to get a hold of. There's one on this floor, and then there's one on each of the floors below this, so I'm hoping to find them all just to show them off. Alright, so let's see if I can get down into the basement of this area a bit easier. Let's see, does going this way work? I think this is the way I want to go to get the item. It's actually a decently good item, so I'd really like to get a hold of it. Let's see. On a rock in the southern part of the room, it says. This rock? Yeah. Alright, so there we go, we have a nugget, which is definitely worth picking up because you can sell it for a lot of money. Okay, so let's see, I think the next item we want is down here. It's on one of these rocks, in fact it's on this rock. Max Elixir, that is a really good item as well. Now we want to head all the way down to the basement here. Alright, now the last item is on an alcove in the southeast, which I'm assuming means it's somewhere over here. The question is, how do we get down into that little spit of water? Aha, here we go. So let's go into our Pokemon and surf. Worth noting, if you haven't done this area before, you are going to need a Pokemon with strength to complete it, so I just want to point that out. Is it right here? Yeah, Ultra Ball. Not too terribly important for my uses, but it's definitely something worth grabbing, if not to sell for money. Also worth noting, at the end of the game here, I am really pressed for inventory space, so I've pretty much started selling off all the TMs I have no intention of using. That's not to say they're bad, it's just, this file is strictly for the Let's Play, so once the Let's Play is over, I'm probably not going to be touching it again, so I really have no qualms with selling the TMs that I haven't already used. I am saving one TM to use on Pikachu to replace Thunder Wave when we eventually choose to do that, but that will not be this episode because we need that Thunder Wave. Anyway, right over here is this bird, and I would highly recommend you save. Alright, now that we have saved, let's talk to the bird. But first things first, I do not want to forget, I want to put Pikachu into the front of the party for this. Just saying, this is going to be quite the fight. This right here is Articuno. This is one of the 3 legendary bird Pokemon that you can obtain in Pokemon Yellow. Now, I want to make mention that according to Bulbapedia, inflicting a status condition is extremely helpful on Pokemon with very low catch rates, and not very helpful on Pokemon with very high catch rates. Articuno has a very low catch rate, so according to Bulbapedia, this paralysis is going to be huge. Also, according to Bulbapedia, which I think is kind of interesting, apparently, when it comes to using a Great Ball, once the Pokemon is below half health, weakening it any further doesn't really make much of a difference. So I'm going to be weakening it to a nice position comfortably below half health. And as you can see, this thing is packing Ice Beam, which is a little scary. I'm going to weaken it to somewhere comfortably below half health, and it is now paralyzed, so we pretty much have our best chances that we can think of to catch this thing. I'm going to send in Lapras for the remainder of the fight, because odds are this thing's going to be able to wall this Articuno like crazy. So let's chuck a Great Ball and see what happens. And as you can see, it says we missed the Pokemon. The interesting thing about the capture algorithm in this game is missing the Pokemon is basically the equivalent of having a ball break without shaking in later games. Now, the fun thing about the capture algorithm in this game is that is also a rough approximation of our odds of catching the Pokemon. And another fun thing is if we don't weaken Articuno any further, and if we don't use a Pokeball other than the Great Ball, this thing will always miss entirely unless we are destined to catch it because of the weirdness of Generation 1 mechanics. So basically the strategy here is to keep chucking Great Balls until we see it shake once, because once it shakes once, we know we've got it. So that's basically how this fight is going to go from here on out, so I think we are just going to jump cut to when I catch it. Which is right now. Oh my god, that wasn't even a cut. Alright, Articuno was caught. So yeah, if you want a really good fail-proof strategy for capturing the legendary birds, there you go. Articuno, the Freeze Pokemon. A legendary bird Pokemon. It freezes water that is contained in winter air and makes it snow. Very cool. Alright, we're going to send it to Bill's PC. And with that, we are now off to Route 10. Alright, here we are on Route 10, and we are finally going to be taking care of something that we technically could have gotten a long time ago. Pretty much the instant you are able to use Surf, you are allowed to come over here and get this. Anyway, we are going to head in here and use Surf, and I also want to throw up a Repel. But yeah, as you can see, we only used 5 Great Balls to catch Articuno, which is really crazy. I'm really hoping we can have that kind of luck on all 3 of these birds. Anyhow, let's head right on down here, and unlike in certain other games when you can catch a certain bird down here, we are actually having to go inside the power plant. Is this a trainer? Wow, there is a trainer here. I did not actually know that there was a trainer right here. Okay, well I guess we're having a random trainer battle this video, which I guess isn't too bad, and since we could have done this pretty much the instant we got Surf, yeah, it's not going to be the most powerful trainer in the world, so I think we're just going to use Body Slam on Pikachu right here, and that actually did a lot less than I was expecting it to. Now, in case anyone's wondering why I didn't just use Body Slam to paralyze, it only paralyzes a certain percentage of the time, and I wanted something a bit more certain to do the job, because as you can see, these birds are very much capable of 1 or 2-shotting my Pikachu if I'm not careful, so I really want to get that paralysis off as quickly as I can. One thing I'm not entirely sure about is if I can actually use Thunder Wave on the bird we're coming up against, because in later generations it's no longer possible, but I'm assuming in this generation it still works? I don't know, there's a lot of stuff about this game I'm really just unsure of just because it's so old. A lot of people that say Pokemon hasn't changed once in 20 years, I challenge them to play Sun and Moon and then go back and play this game, because holy cow is it a different experience. Alright, so we defeated the random trainer battle right there, And right here, this is the abandoned power plant. And it's got the creepy Team Rocket hideout music. Right here, right off the bat, we have a Carbos. So let's go into our items here, just so it's not burning a hole in my pocket. And I think we're going to use this on Lapras, I think. Lapras Speed Rose, okay. I'll be honest, I have never taken the time to actually figure out what all of the vitamins do, so I just sort of use them randomly whenever I get them. Anyway, I believe, yes, this right here is either a Voltorb or an Electrode, and these are basically random nuisance wild encounters of a pretty high level, actually. Holy cow. And the nice thing is, if you run from them, they just go away. And honestly, I really don't think I need that kind of a boost, so I'm not really going to worry about it. Anyway, there's apparently an item in a room just east of the entrance, and is that this is it this room? TM33, yes, this is Reflect, and I'm assuming this right here is another Pokemon. Yes, it is. So yeah, this is the only area with a legendary bird in it that we have not explored at all in the series thus far, so that's going to explain why this bird is probably going to take us the longest out of all of these. Alright. So I believe this right here is a very long central room right here, and a lot of these Pokemon are actually Voltorb and Electrode, which is going to be really, really, really annoying. And yeah, I'm really surprised that all these Pokemon are actually level 40. That's pretty high. I mean, for my standards right now, it's not too terribly high. But if you actually came here when you had the requisite badges to use Surf, and nothing else, these are actually pretty high level Pokemon that could probably get you some decent levels. Presuming you can survive their onslaught, of course. Alright. Anyway, apparently there's a hidden item somewhere around here. I'm gonna use another repel because I'm like 99% certain there's wild Pokemon in here. Let's see. It says it's in the northwest corner. Derp, okay. The northwest corner is over this way, so let's see if we can find it. I'm assuming this is the long central room. And if it's not, then maybe I'm just crazy. I think I'm just crazy. So we're going to move onwards right here, and I think there's another item over here. I think this one's real. Yes, TM25, which contains Thunder. That is a really, really good move if you want to come here and get that right off the bat. And this right here is, of course, another Voltorb, which is unfortunate, but I guess we can deal with it. And by deal with it, I mean run like a child. There we go. Alright, so let's head right on around here, and I guess the long central room of which this page is referring is actually up here, perhaps? I think. What's up here? I'm curious. Let's see here. There's an item, and now the question is it real? It is a rare candy, the 12th and final rare candy that we are going to be obtaining before completing the game, and you can bet whatever it is you people gamble on that I am going to be making use of all of those before we complete the game. Right there we have an HP up, which I think I want to use on Pikachu because it has the lowest HP out of everybody. Oh wow, it's actually maxed out. Okay, the second lowest is Blastoise, so we'll use it on Blastoise. Now what difference does that make? A couple points actually. Pretty good. Alright, now let's see if I can find that actual long central room that the game was referring to. I hope I can find it because it actually has a pretty good item in it. I'm assuming it's that one down there. Alright, so let's loop right on around this way. And then down here we have another fake Pokemon, because of course we do. And this one's actually an Electrode, which is the fastest Pokemon in the game if I'm not mistaken. So if you want to come here early off and actually manage to capture this thing, You're in good hands, let me tell you that. Alright, let's loop on around this way. Let's see here. And right there is the bird, and it looks like I missed how to get to that central room, so I'm gonna have to backtrack a little bit and see if I can find it, because I really, really want to get down in there. It's not that way. But, like, you guys can see the central room, so I'm assuming I'm not crazy. But yeah, this area is a little bit of a maze. I definitely liked its incarnation in Generations 2 and 4 a lot better, in case it wasn't obvious. Alright, let's head right on around this way, and hopefully we can get into the central room this direction? Let's see. Aha, here it is. I guess I just sort of got lost a little bit. Alright, so let's use another super repel right here. Hopefully we can get through this episode without missing out on anything. And what's over here? Or is this just the entrance? I assume that's just the entrance. Alright, so let's head right on in this way. And I'm assuming right up there is where the item is, if I'm not crazy. And I'm assuming both of these are actually fake? Yes, this one's fake. Alrighty. Yep, it's another Voltorb, which I'm really, really not surprised at in the slightest. So we're just gonna run from all these. I know I could technically get some experience from these guys, but the episode's already probably going to be long as it is. And I figured, might as well just plow through it. Alright, this one is an Electrode, so it looks like we got a couple of Electrode in the area, and the rest are just Voltorb. Alright, so we're gonna run from this one. And that should be all of them. And then right here, yes, we have a Max Elixir. That is a really, really nice item to have for the final battles of the game, because in case anyone is somehow unfamiliar with how this works, you basically have to battle a gauntlet of trainers without access to a healing machine. Which means those items are the only way to restore power points to your Pokemon. As you might imagine, that is a very, very valuable commodity, so I definitely recommend going after it. Anyhow, without anything left to do, I think we will just head back over to where the bird is, and I believe there's actually a hidden item in... not in Zapdos' room. Oh, I just spoiled what the bird's called. Oh well, in case anyone didn't actually know that, that's kind of surprising. Alright, is it up here where the item is? Yes, there's a PP up right here. Definitely want to grab that one, and I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to be using it on Lapras's Ice Beam. I know Psychic is arguably a better move than Ice Beam, but Lapras gets Stab on Ice Beam, so if I'm ever given the choice and it doesn't really matter which one I pick, I'm going to pick Ice Beam, because it's probably going to wind up being more powerful. Anyway, here we have the other bird, and again, I highly recommend you save. Alright, with that out of the way, let us check out that bird. This is Zapdos, an Electric-type legendary bird Pokemon in Pokemon Yellow. Pretty much the same story as Articuno here. This thing can tear you up, and you want to use your best moves on this thing. And it looks like Thunder Wave does actually work on it, which is really nice. I was kind of concerned about that. In future generations, I'm pretty sure it's straight up impossible to paralyze electric types, so it's really nice to know that that's possible right there. And yes, that does mean you can get a hold of a Zapdos like 3 badges into this game. It's insane. And Twitch Plays Pokemon also took advantage of the fact that this thing could be obtained because they actually used one in their playthrough, which is kind of insanity. But yeah, if you want something to just mow through the rest of the game with early on, this is a really, really good Pokemon to consider. Anyway, I explained all the capture mechanics previously, so I think I'm just going to jump cut to when I eventually catch this bird. Aha, there we go. 1, 2, and 3. How did I know? How did I know? Oh, Generation 1 capture mechanics. Alright, Zapdos was caught. We'll upload that data into the Pokédex. Zapdos, the electric Pokemon. creative. This legendary bird Pokemon is said to appear when the sky turns dark and lightning showers down. Very nice. Gonna forego a nickname and we're gonna transfer that to the PC. And with that, we can head out this door right here, which actually spits us out right here. Which makes absolutely no sense at all, but I'm gonna go with it. Anyway, we are now going to make our return to Victory Road. Alrighty, here we are in Victory Road. Now, hopefully I will be able to show the quickest way to get to the legendary bird in this area. Looking at the map, it's looking like a Pokemon with strength is recommended. Although my cursory glance can't confirm or not whether or not strength is actually required. It probably is, knowing this area. Just thought I'd point it out. Anyway, we want to take that shortcut through there, and this shortcut through here. Now this does mean we cannot take this same route back, but I think we can figure things out. And of course, you can always bring an escape rope if you are not confident in your navigational ability. Anyway, right over here is the third bird. Once again, I recommend saving. Alright, and with that, let's check it out. This is the third legendary bird Pokemon to be found in Pokemon Yellow, Moltres. As you might imagine from the name, it is a fire type. So yes, you've got this interesting trio of ice, electricity, and fire, which I think is really neat. Anyway, same strategy as before, we're going to be using Thunder Wave on this guy to paralyze it, and then we are going to be weakening it down to below half health. And I have to say, the capture algorithm in Generation 1 is utterly hilarious to me. According to that, there's a certain other Pokemon in the game that some people usually have some issues capturing that can apparently be caught in an average of 6 Ultra Balls if you simply put it to sleep. Yeah, that's how broken the capture mechanic is in this game. Anyway, with that out of the way, Moltres is now paralyzed and below half health, so we can go into our bag, and as you can see, we only needed 9 of the Great Balls here to capture Zapdos. So yeah, some serious luck right here. But with that, I think I have nothing else to say about Moltres really, so I think we're just going to jump cut to when I catch it. Alright, and there we go. I think that was like the 3rd or 4th Ultra Ball. Not Ultra Ball, Great Ball even. So yeah, this is probably the strategy you're going to want to go with to capture all these birds when it comes to catching them yourself. Anyway, add that Pokedex data. Moltres, the Flame Pokemon, a legendary bird Pokemon. As it flaps its flaming wings, even the night sky will turn red. Very interesting indeed. And yes, say it with me, uno, dos, tres. Those aren't the only Pokemon in the series to make a 1, 2, 3 joke. Anyone who's played Black and White would know that. But yeah, let's head back to Indigo Plateau. Also, I've just discovered something very disappointing. These barriers reset upon leaving and re-entering the dungeon. Alrighty, and with that, I think we are going to be ending things off here. So, this past episode of Pokemon Yellow, we captured all 3 legendary birds of the Kanto region, and in between episodes I'm going to be making some final preparations for next time, when we are going to be taking on the Elite Four. So without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.
フリーザー、冷凍ポケモン。高さ 1.7 メートル。重さ 55.4 キログラム。伝説の鳥ポケモンの一つ。長い尻尾がたなびいて飛んでいく姿は素晴らしい。